All right, folks, we're about to get started. I know that we're probably the last meeting of the day, so we can probably stretch it out a little bit. But let's get this show going. So I know we got a lot of opportunity to meet a lot of the candidates and intermingle. First of all, let me just start off by saying what an amazing opportunity to finally come together to share the energy and what magic it is to be a Democrat in this state that has so much potential to do so much better for our community. The problem is that we have the wrong leaders in place right now. And that's why we're coming together to talk about, you know, what's important to our community and to also show support to all of the different candidates. So let me just start off by saying that it's not easy to be a candidate. They put their lives on scrutiny, right under a microscope, and they give up so much of their time to do this. And I really humbly want to thank all you candidates for stepping up and being our gladiators at a time where we need gladiators. So my name is Cesar Ramirez. I am the president of the Democratic Hispanic Caucus of Florida. Thank you for that. And I want to make a really quick announcement that I didn't intend to make before this meeting, but I was at another meeting previous to this. When I took this role of president, we had about 9 working chapters. And I sit on the Club and Caucus Committee, and I am ecstatic to report to you that we have grown 100%, now representing 18 chapters in 24 counties. We've grown a membership of over 150%. Now, that was no feat. You know, this caucus had some challenges, but the one thing that I so much enjoyed working with this caucus is that people stayed on and people fought through and they saw what was important. And really, my effort and my service is really dedicated to my members, my caucus presidents. I have a few in the audience, and I just want to help me give them a round of applause for the great work that they've done. Now, a lot of these meetings, I'm going to try to be quick. A lot of these meetings is all about hearing these candidates speak. But to be honest with you, the voice that really matters is you guys. So I told everybody in coming to this meeting that we were going to be the loudest room. So when I say blue, I want you to guys say vote. But I want you guys to be loud so the people in the hallway can hear. All right? Blue. Vote. Blue. Vote. Blue. Vote. Okay, I like that. We're going to try to get louder as the night goes. As the day goes, all right? So without further ado, I want to introduce the first speaker. And before I do, I want to say that the Democratic Hispanic Caucus values the opportunity for all candidates to give them a platform. And that's important to us because we want everybody to have a voice, and we want our community to understand who the candidates are. We don't play favorites, and we scrutinize our endorsements, and we want the best possible champions to represent our community, and our community has been underrepresented. So with that being said, I am ecstatic at our lineup today, and our first speaker is Senator Annette Taddeo.
I am very proud and excited to be here with you guys today because I am honored to be the first Latina Democrat to be elected to the Florida Senate. With your help, we made history in 2017 when we flipped that seat from red to blue, and everybody said it couldn't be done. We were told that there's no way we can win that. I actually got a call from party leaders, and they said, we don't want you to run, we don't think you should run, we don't think it can get done. Well, I said, I don't ask my husband for permission, so why am I going to ask you guys for permission? I instead listened to our community, and we didn't just win, we won by 4 points. We went on to get re-elected, and I currently represent a Trump district. So I know that what we need across the state of Florida is someone that can represent all people, not just those that vote for us, but everyone. And we indeed, Cesar, need more voices at the table, need more diversity, and that's why I'm also proud, and I know she's not here, but I want to make sure to mention that I have endorsed Janelle Perez. She is a Cuban-American, openly gay mom, businesswoman. She will be running to replace me in that seat, and I know she can win, and I know we can keep that seat blue with Janelle running to represent us. But you know, I want to tell you something else that's really important to us in our community. We have heard so much of the attacks mainly to our Hispanic community of socialista, comunista. How many of you have been called those names? Well, I've been called those names many times, and throughout that campaign that we won, we pushed back. We weren't gonna let them, and I will tell you, we didn't just let them. We answered and we said, how dare you? How dare you, when my own father was kidnapped by the FARC terrorist group. And that is the reason why at 17, I had to come to the United States, to Alabama of all places. And because we all in our communities know and feel and know so many families affected, but that's the only way they know how to win, by inciting fear in our communities. We are not gonna take it, we're gonna answer, and we're going to push back, and we are going to win. But more importantly, we're gonna bring back the voters we have lost, which is those Latino voters across the state. Yes, we have lost a lot of them, but we need to get them back. And it's not just about the fact that I speak Spanish. Claro que sí, yo hablo. But it's about speaking our culture, understanding our values, and getting them coming out to vote. Because we have seen this in all minority communities, where many people don't come out to vote because there's no reason. We are so busy throwing bombs at our opponents, we don't talk about what we're gonna do. I can tell you that in our community, we are small business owners like me. We are entrepreneurs. We are go-getters. We are hard workers. We represent the Army and the Air Force like my dad did, and we fight for this country. And we know that we are going to be a part of the future of this country. We are a part of this country. And I will tell you, the reason this country is great is because of our diversity. That is our strength, not our weakness. That is really important, that we bring people together. So, I will tell you, and I know there's some kind of noise in the background, so everybody's like, what is that? Okay. Thank you. How much time do I have? Because I just want to make sure. Okay, 2 minutes. I'm going to close. I'm going to close by telling you guys, and hopefully you guys get to come tonight and see all of us. You know, this race is about so much more than any one of us. All the candidates are really good. But this race is about the future of Florida. This race is about making sure this man has no chance to ever become president, because we all know he's more worried about voters in Iowa than about those of us right here in Florida. We all know what we need to do to stop this man. And we all know the things we need to do to bring people out to vote. For example, I will, as governor, expand pre-K education from 3 hours a day to a full day. We have a huge problem with a lot of women not going back to work after COVID. And the reason is because it costs more to figure out where your kids are gonna go and who's gonna take care of them. We need to invest in that education of our kids and in earlier education. That is one of the things we need to do, and that will be good for our kids, for our education, and for our economy. And there are so many other things that we need to do, like expand Medicaid. Did you know that you and I who have health insurance are paying a $2,000 tax that is hidden every time you go to the hospital if you have health insurance. So we as Democrats have been telling people, vote to expand Medicaid because 1 million Floridians need to get health insurance. I agree. But we also need to talk about the pocketbook and how we are right now paying more because of politics. And that money, the $2,000 tax, hidden tax, you know where it comes from? It doesn't come from Annette Tadeo. It comes from the Florida Chamber of Commerce. So that is the kind of things that we need to talk about, that we need to campaign on, that we need to incite people, telling our stories, fighting back, and telling them the good things we can do as Democrats. Let's be proud of being Democrats and bring everyone out to vote so we can turn this state blue once and for all. Thank you so much. Gracias. Let's make history again. Thank you.
Next up, I always wish that I can share everybody's bio, but I can't because it's hard to remember, and quite honestly, I may not show it. I'm a little bit nervous, but I just wanted to again do a couple of acknowledgments real quick. I want to acknowledge Rolando Barrera, my Palm Beach chapter president. Thank you for being here. And I also want to acknowledge Congressman Soto, one of our favorite congressmen in Polk County, and of course. I can't say enough to a mentor and a good friend, Senator Torres. Thank you so much for being so supportive. All right, so next up, without further ado, I want to introduce someone who's running for United States Senate, a fellow Latino who has committed so much to public service, and he has done everything from in the White House, Department of Justice, and he was once even rated the highest performing attorney in the Department of Justice. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up William Sanchez.
Most of you don't know me. She says I do. I'll tell you just a little background. And I was blessed with the opportunity to serve in the White House under President Bush, and I was confirmed by the Senate. So one of the things I like to talk about as a candidate is that I can work on both sides of the aisle. I had the opportunity to do that back in 2004 and 5, and I really enjoyed it. The reason why I got involved in that point is because of 9/11. When the towers went down, I grew up in New York as a kid. I used to play in Riverside Park and watch those towers go up. And when they got hit and DC got hit, I went to Georgetown Law. I couldn't believe it, So I dove into public service at that point. Even though I have been involved in public service through my practice, we have a law firm, and our firm represents refugees, immigrants, and marginalized communities from everywhere. We've been doing it for over 30 years, so I like to tell people that the same thing I hope to do in the Senate, we've been doing for people in Florida already, our clients, but as business people. And I want to bring business sense to the position. And I'm going to tell you why. The current, 2 minutes?
You're good.
Oh, wow, I got a timer. He's like a judge. All right. The current Senator Marco Rubio, one of the things that really upset me earlier in the year was when January 6th hit, the insurrection. And as I said, I went to Georgetown Law. I've been happily married for 37 years. I met my wife in DC. I lived right by Congress, and I cannot imagine a mob of thousands of people being incited by a president to attack Congress. I can't imagine it. We came really close to being a dictatorship. Because if Trump wins, it's a dictatorship. I don't think people realize how close we were to that. So for me, the most important thing will be, as U.S. Senator, to protect our democracy, to make sure that the three branches are separate and they're not attacking one another. Thanks. Rubio, right after January 6th, I remember it perfectly, said, we don't have to do an investigation, it's stupid. Really? So you work in this house, that's the people's house, it's been attacked, people have been killed, and you don't care about investigating who did it? That tells me he is a lapdog of Trump, we know it. We do have great candidates for U.S. Senate. I happen to be the only Hispanic one. Hablo bastante español, mis padres son cubanos. Qué lástima. Me crié con dominicano y puertorriqueño en Nueva York. So people tend to think I'm actually not Cuban, but I really love this country. I really do. I'm a grandfather now. I could chill right now in life. You know, I'm going to retire in the Philippines in the future. My wife's from the Philippines. But I think we need to get involved. Because the direction that America was going in over the last 4 years was downhill. After we had the greatness of Obama and the diversity of Obama, all of a sudden it turns around. So let's stay involved. Let's engage. I'd love for you all to join our campaign. Check us out, SanchezForSenate.com, and I really look forward to serving you all next year in the Senate, 2022. Thank you.
All right, some quick honorable mentions. All right, so we got Maxwell Alejandro Frost, who's running for Congress in Florida 10. We have Jeffrey G. Boone, who's also running for Congress as well. And we have Eddie Geller, who's also running for Congress as well. If I didn't get your name, come to the side in the next introduction. I'll make sure I do that honorable mention, okay? So right now I'm going to bring up our candidate for Florida Agriculture Commissioner, Ryan Morales.
Buenas tardes, todo el mundo. So real quickly, the mission of the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services is to safeguard the public and make sure that we support Florida's agricultural economy. My name is Ryan Morales, and I'm running to be your next Democratic commissioner, actually the 13th commissioner for the state of Florida, and the first Latino to ever serve in this position. My mission once elected is to improve the system through my STEED method. The STEED method is basically our state's need to nurture and invest in science, technology, environmental protections, economic drivers, and development oversight. Did you know that Florida actually has a state horse? That's right, we actually have a horse called the good old Florida Cracker. And that's actually been the inspiration to my STEED method. This little guy, speed and agile, is what makes him important here in Florida, and that's really what we need to be doing in Florida. We need to be fast and quick with what we do to make sure that Florida becomes, or is in the forefront of the quality of life. We want to make sure that we improve that for everybody here in the state of Florida. Imagine, with my method, we could actually work to make Florida the #1 economy in the nation. We can actually help improve the life of all Floridians, not just the special interest groups that donate to these candidates. I'll be the first, this is actually the first of many goals that I have for the state of Florida. I'm going to continue into some of the other goals that I'm actually looking to do. This one's actually really important to me. It's actually stopping the burn. Burning is not important for farming. Don't let them lie to you. They'll continue to tell you that burning is essential to farming, and it is not. You want to know why? Because what they're burning is waste that we could convert into a biofuel. If we could actually focus on creating this biofuel, we could actually change other industries like the cruise line industry and the airline industry by just a simple change in gas. We could reduce their carbon footprint by 75%. Just yesterday, they actually tested a 100% sustainable airline flying with politicians and a couple of big people just to test it out, but it's possible. We could do this. That was all powered by sugar and by corn. Why can't we be the ones producing that fuel for the people of Florida? This is a good revenue stream for us, and it'll make us green all the way through. All right, next one. I want to make sure that we stop unwanted calls. It's actually, we just need to follow the law and enforce that. There's no reason why I should be scared to answer my phone from somebody trying to call me for a car warranty or some scammer trying to take my information to steal from me. That to me is a big issue. We want to make sure that we enforce that and take care of that. The next portion that I want to talk about is really, we need to create a department that handles online and internet securities. We have too many issues with hackers and ransomware. Our cities are being held crippled, our businesses are being crippled by these ransomwares, and they can't do things. If you remember when we had the shortage with the truck drivers that not being able to deliver milk because of the hack and all that, that needs to stop. We could do something about it. It's been put into place since 2016. Nobody's done anything about it. The next one after that is really about making sure that we clean the waters. We have an issue with the algae blooms every year that keeps getting worse. I want to make sure that we clean that. I have methods that are actually all natural-based methods that will actually help clean the water much quicker than usual. I have a friend by the name of Captain Planet, Garrett Stewart. He actually works in installing artificial reefs throughout the state of Florida, and it's been working. He's been cleaning areas that don't normally have these things, cleaning them. So I want to make sure that we invest in things like that, invest in projects that are actually helpful to the state of Florida and not hurtful. One of the other things I also talk about is hemp. Hemp is a restorative and a regenerative plant. We could actually save our waterways by using hemp on our shorelines as well as on barges to help clean the water. It actually It's not the type of stuff that you'd want to smoke, but believe me, it will pull the nasties out of the water much quicker than anything else. So we need to use this stuff, and we need to make sure that we use hemp as a plant that saves the planet. After accomplishing all my goals, really the biggest thing that I'm looking for is making sure that we legalize cannabis properly and make sure that it includes home grow. I'm a cannabis patient, so to me it's super important that we make sure that we do this properly, because right now it's a big old mess and I don't like it. And really, after accomplishing all these goals, really I understand that we can make Florida the #1 economy in the nation. So my name is Ryan Morales. I'm your Democratic candidate for Florida's Agricultural and Consumer Services Commissioner. And I look forward to earning your support and your vote for this coming election, as well as we're looking for volunteers and supporters to really help us make the campaign whole and make our campaign successful in order to win this election. I look forward to all your support, and please visit ryanforflorida.com for more information. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank one of my other chapter presidents, Carol Rosario from Lake County. Also, I want to acknowledge Tom Wells, running for Congress. Karina for Congress is also here. And Debbie Jordan, who's running for re-election in the school board. And of course, I would like to say thank you for you guys attending. And of course, Vice Mayor Yvette Coburn, thank you so much for being here as well. So I would like to bring up our next guest. He's Commissioner of, Miami-Dade? City of Miami. Ken Russell is here to talk a little bit about who he is and what he does, and how he's gonna try to impact our community. Ken Russell, please. One of the smartest candidates I know. He wore sneakers because he knows he's gonna be running around.
Muchísimas gracias. ¿Cómo están todos? ¿Cómo vai vocês? My wife is Brazilian, so I gotta throw the Portuguese in there for her. I actually worked in Brazil back in '95. I worked in Venezuela in 1992. I know what we need from the federal government as Florida. We are meant to be the voice for this hemisphere. We are meant to be the conduit to our administration for all of the needs from Haiti, Cuba, Nicaragua, Venezuela, but we're not. In fact, our leadership in Marco Rubio is a farce. He's absolutely he's a wolf in sheep's clothing, acting to support Cuban Americans and Cuba, yet he's just fighting dead dictators instead of helping families reunite or even send money home. And the nail in the coffin to Venezuelans, to say, all right, you got your TPS, but go back home. These are future American citizens, and they deserve a right to stay and a path to citizenship. Do you agree? Sorry, I love issues and getting down. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Ken Russell, and I'm running for the United States Senate against Marco Rubio. My joke is that por fin Miami va a tener un senador de Miami, porque Marco es de Washington, D.C. Am I right? Right. Okay. And I was born in Miami. I grew up in Stuart, Florida, and I moved back to Miami about 20 years ago after traveling for work to over 55 countries. And in these travels, I learned 5 languages, and one of the not best of which is Japanese, because my mother is Japanese, making me Miami's first ever Japanese-American elected official. Oh. And of course, I would be Florida's first ever Japanese-American United States Senator. So I think that's pretty good. So in the city of Miami, we have done a lot, of course, for our Hispanic community, not just the Cuban American community. We entertained Juan Guaido's mother at City Hall just 2 weeks ago, where I read her the poem La Rosa Blanca, where we dedicated a park to Simón Bolívar, where we pledged to stand with Venezuela in their fight for freedom, just like we stand with Cuba. However, our South Florida Republican coalition is actually working against those interests because of the rhetoric, the points they gain with the rhetoric and propaganda of the same old, same old. They could be the absolute advisors to the Biden administration this moment if they chose. Instead, they are just waiting for him to trip up so they can blame or so they can take credit for any accidental success that he has. We should be leading in this hemisphere. As a City of Miami Commissioner, I've been absolutely dedicated to affordable housing for the elderly, for the absolutely extremely low income. These are things that I've fought for. Yet 6 years ago, I didn't know a resolution from an ordinance. I was a surfboard salesman who just got upset about a contaminated park in front of my house. You know, and I left my small business aside to run for local office, and here I am. And I'm here running for the United States Senate because the biggest gap in assistance that I've found running the largest city in Florida, a $1.3 billion budget, and have never even met my US Senator. He has never darkened the door to say, how can we work together? How can the federal government and local government work together? So I've created all these funding sources myself without raising taxes to help address affordable housing, sea level rise, storm surge, police oversight, social injustice. These are things I really care about. And of course, we need a senator who can speak to our communities. ¿Cómo podemos ayudar? Si no podemos entender, por favor, ¿sí? Okay, so we need someone in office who's going to understand this vast community and understand that Miami Cubans have very different interests from Tampa Cubans, and of course different interests from Puerto Ricans. I absolutely support statehood for Puerto Rico. I absolutely support, hey! I'm with you. Please follow along. I won't take any more of your time. I'll be speaking tonight where I'll go a little more in depth to how we win, how a little underdog, scrappy campaign you've never heard of will suddenly become your nominee and your United States Senator. We're going on a 67 county tour. We just got to $1 million raise this week. Thank you all for your help. Keep following along. KenRussellForFlorida.com. Thank you guys. Muchísimas gracias. Hasta luego.
So the next speaker is another gubernatorial candidate who's had a very interesting history, and you know, I've got to hear him speak, and quite impressive in his own right. Without further ado, I want to introduce Congressman Charlie Crist. Apologize.
So I'm the grandson of an immigrant, and the grandson of a mother and grandmother. My father's father immigrated from Greece, the island of Cyprus. Are you Greek?
I'm Greek.
Well, there's two of us in the house. That's good. Oh, we invented democracy, by the way. I don't know if you saw, but the Pope was there yesterday in Athens, and the place democracy started. We're fighting for democracy here in Florida, by the way. The Democratic Party is, literally, because the Republicans, the way they're leading, and DeSantis, are taking away our democratic rights. He's fighting our right to vote. He's fighting civil rights. He's fighting the rights of people that are disabled, making it harder for them to vote, if you can imagine that. Not having mail-in voting as available as it has been in the past. It's unconscionable. That's a legal word. I mean that it's impossible to imagine. But it really is. It's shocking. Anyway, back to Grandpa. So my grandfather immigrated. He was 14 years old. It was 1912. He comes through Ellis Island. He, as I told you, was Greek, spoke Greek, didn't speak English, didn't have any money, didn't know anybody. But he wanted to come to a land of opportunity called America. And he had heard that the streets were paved with gold. You probably heard this story from some of your relatives over the years. So he gets here, like I said, he didn't have a job lined up. All of a sudden, some guy comes up to him and starts speaking Greek on Ellis Island to him. And he used to tell me when I was a kid, it was like the sun came out. You know, because he heard his native tongue. It was important to him. And this guy offered him a job. He offered him a job in Altoona, Pennsylvania to shine shoes for a living for $5 a month. And my grandfather was over the moon. His name was Adam. His name was a little longer than mine. His last name was Christodoulos. My father shortened it when he was in high school because nobody could say it, nobody could pronounce it. Soto may have been longer in the past too, I don't know, probably not.
Soto, Sotomayor.
So my grandfather goes to Altoona, Pennsylvania, where I was born, and he shines shoes. But he's frugal, and he saves his money. And eventually he's able to do what a lot of Greeks did. He opened up a small cafe, little restaurant. And after that, he was able to open up a dry cleaning store. And he was starting to live the American dream that he had heard about, this land of opportunity called America. So his wife, my grandmother, immigrated also. She immigrated from Lebanon the same year. They met working in a restaurant together in Altoona. And that's where they ended up falling in love and getting married. But it is truly the American dream and the American story. They had 7 children among them. One of them became a medical doctor, my dad. One of them became a pharmacist. One of them became a school teacher. They believed in the fundamental importance of public education, like every immigrant family. How important public education is, in fact, the equal opportunity provider in America. It's fundamental, it's basic. 2 of my 3 sisters have been public school teachers in Pinellas County, where I grew up. My dad, although a doctor, ran for the Pinellas County School Board. Education is like in our DNA, immigrants. It really is, because we understand that if you go to school, you listen to your teachers, you study hard, and you work hard, you can become a great lawyer, like our chairman. You know, you can become a great congressman and lawyer, like Darren Soto. It is that my time's out, man. It was quick. I'll wrap it up.
Yes.
I'm asking for your help. We have a nightmare of a governor. You know, DeSantis is a disaster. The alliteration is not untrue. And whether it's Nikki or me or Annette, we deserve a change in Tallahassee. We deserve better. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow.
I'd like to bring up the next speaker who, for one of the things that I can actually celebrate in previous election cycles is she was the only Democrat to win a state level election, and that in a very tough climate. So we should be excited about that, and she decided to throw in a hat as a gubernatorial candidate for the state of Florida. So without further ado, Nikki Fried.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's so good to see so many of you. It's so nice for us to be together. You know, growing up in Miami, I had learned all of the interaction between all the different moving parts in the Hispanic community. You know, my back neighbors were Cubans, and so I had my first Cuban coffee at the age of like 7. Didn't stunt my growth too much, but I heard the stories. She came over here in 1967. Her parents did not speak English. We used to go to Cayocho on the weekends, and I heard and understood what it meant to have a diverse community, to hear and understand the stories of why people were willing to leave their homelands to come to a better way of life. Those stories that I heard growing up molded me into who I am, hearing how we have to make a better country and a better America. And so as we sit here today, we know that we have to fight for democracy here. Because if we don't fight for democracy here, how can we stand for having not democracy anywhere else? And so when I decided to run for office back in 2018, you're right, it was a tough election. Had a couple of recounts that happened along the way. But because of the Democratic Party, we were able to become victorious. That every Democrat across the state went out there and cured ballots and went to supervisor elections offices and made sure that every vote was counted. Because that is what democracy means. And now, 3 years in, every single day, I stand up for our values. I stand up for who we are as Floridians, who we are as Americans, fighting against the DeSantis administration, who every single time tries to not only marginalize our communities, but use them as political points and punching bags at their own whims. We've got to stop that. We've got to lift everybody up. And so when I decided to run in 2022 for this upcoming election, I knew that I had to not only show the people of our state what I've already done, my accomplishments inside of my department, 3 years of a list of things that between water and energy and environment, to restoration of civil rights, to legalization of hemp, which is allowing our smaller farmers and minority businesses to be involved in the cannabis space. We also were able to do some instrumental things when it came to just equity and equality. I had the first ever diversity and inclusion director inside of the department. But now that I'm running for governor, it is important to show what I'm going to do. And the first steps in showing that is showing the diversity of my team. That recognizing how important it is to have the voices of our state here at the table every single day. I've got Farah, who's in the back, who's my campaign manager, the first Latina statewide campaign manager here in the state of Florida. I've got my political director, Kramer, who used to be chair of this caucus. And John, who also is Dominican. So we have a diversity, including on my political team, have the first Latina political consultant dealing with Latin American community issues, formed the first ever Latin American and Caribbean American Advisory Council, having the most in-depth experts that we could find across the entire country that used to give advice to both Biden and to Obama and Clinton to make sure that we knew the right policies, the right positions, and not only are they going to be part of my administration, a part of my campaign, but more importantly, guide me through my administration. And so I come to you today saying we've got to win. We're tired of losing. And I can also tell you that as I've campaigned back in 2018, there was never a time after the primary where we as a party came together, and I'm going to give this advice to our chairman, that after the primary, there was never a time when Andrew and myself and Senator Nelson and the party and Senate victory and House victory came together and looked at the map and said, where is everybody strong? Where's everybody weak? And worked together to have one message and lift everybody up. We also don't do a good enough job lifting up our down ballot candidates and our clubs and our caucuses. You are the ones who are on the ground, knocking on doors, talking to community members. We're not importing, we're talking to the communities. And so I make this promise that when I am your nominee, that we will be spending resources on the bottom of the ticket and the bottom of the actual elected of the candidates on the House and the Senate, and I will be done. But so truly, I have led with compassion, I've led with integrity, I've gotten the job done, and I promise you, when you nominate me as your candidate for governor, we will win. Thank you.
Don't we have some great candidates running this cycle? It's amazing, it's amazing. But guess what? The candidates is one aspect, but you know what's really important is to have really, really strong leadership within our party. We have great caucuses. I came from the club and caucus committee, and we have approved the most clubs and caucus than we ever have. I think it was something like 248 clubs and caucus throughout the Florida Democratic Party, and that's an amazing feat. And it's all due to great
leadership. Speaking of which, someone did sneak into the room for that person to maybe say a couple of words. Our fearless leader, Chairman Diaz, please.
Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. César, thank you for the job that you're doing, but now that you told me that we've just approved 248 caucuses, you've really depressed me. I have to deal with all of them, so yes, it's more work for me. Congresista, placer tenerlo aquí.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Hey, look, it's almost over, so I just want to be really quick. It's very simple to me. I just want to talk about politics for a second. Can't win the state of Florida unless you get 60% of the Hispanic vote. We used to get that. We didn't get that in 20. And not only did we not get it here, by the way, we didn't get it in a whole lot of other states. So we have a problem, Houston. I think we all recognize that. And so what do we do about it? We need to work together. Messaging. Yes, sir. We need to spend some time together, primarily and foremost, to talk about messaging. Because obviously we have no message. Correct. And the message is there. It's always been there.
But we need you to punch back, brother.
Oh, believe me, Miami?
We need you
I punch back. Believe me, I spent all of last year trying to get somebody to join me punching back.
I hear you, brother. We're here for you. We're here for you. We want to fight with you.
And nobody would. Interestingly enough, just something came up. The other day I was looking through my files looking for something else, and I ran into a news clip from the Miami Herald in 1984. And there was a picture of Manny Diaz at 20. Handsome, just like now. And the story of the Herald was, I was chair of the time of something called the Spanish American League Against Discrimination, SALAD. And I was punching back at primarily the Republican candidates who were running in Miami and running on, guess what? Communism, socialism. And I was punching back and saying, When are you going to start talking about our senior citizens? When are you going to start talking about our schools and our kids and Baba and our poor people and stop talking about this bullshit? Because that's all it is. It's bullshit. That was 1984. That was almost 40 years ago. We're still talking about the same thing. The difference is that back then we were talking about the other things. Today we stopped talking about the other things. And some of the mainstream politicians believe that the only issue we care about, for example, is immigration. So let's go down there and talk about immigration. We got them. No, we all know that's not true. But anyway, the bottom line is this. The bottom line is we need to spend a lot of time together, because if we're going to turn this around, it can't happen without that figure I gave you. Put that in your mind. 60% Hispanic vote statewide. That's what we're going to get, and we're going to win. Thanks.
I want to say to Chairman Diaz is that the Democratic Hispanic Caucus is committed to working with you and the Florida Democratic Party to flip Florida blue. So you have my commitment, and all I need is marching orders.
Thank you, sir.
Media is going to love us. I can tell you that right now. So I am really excited about introducing our next speaker. This was someone that has made a very impact on the national platform and has been doing amazing things and has absolutely been a voice for our community when in Washington, D.C. And it's almost, it's an honor to know that Val Demings is gracing us with her time, and the fact that she wanted to punch the Republicans out and became I'm sorry. But you know, she was a strong voice in impeaching Trump as an impeachment manager, and that for us to see a woman that dynamic who represents our community, who represents our diversity, I take a lot of pride in. As an Afro-Latino, I always look to see who are our Latinos who are representing us with pride. We have Congressman Soto, and he already knows how I feel about him, and now Val Demings, I get the opportunity to share my thoughts on you. So I would like to really just thank you for all the work that you did as a Congresswoman, and we look forward to some great things. So without further ado, Congresswoman Val Demings.
Let me say this, the honor is absolutely mine to be here with you. I don't take it for granted. When people want to hear what I have to say, and people are willing to support me. Let me say this, I am delighted to be in the presence of my friend and colleague, Darren Soto. We were elected together and we served together in the U.S. House of Representatives. We had a family emergency recently, and I reached out to Darren, and he stepped up to the plate and did some things for me without hesitation, and it just means a lot to me. You never really know what you have until it's tested, and I just appreciate him being a great colleague and friend. You all, come on, let's give him another round of applause. Also, aren't y'all glad, like I am, to have Manny Diaz as our party chair? He's doing a great job. You all heard him say, I think I heard 60%, and we are commit 60%, and I know we can do it because we understand the stakes are so high. I also want to take a moment to introduce my partner. I call him my backup. Yeah, he's my backup. My friend, my husband, the father of my children, the papa to our 5 grandchildren, but your Orange County Mayor, Jerry Demings. I'm running for the United States Senate, and I am running to win. You know, the chairman was talking about, what do we care about? What do you care about? That is not just immigration. See, people who try to put you in a box are the ones who look for an easier way to not fully understand what you care about. But as I stand here before you as the daughter of a maid and a janitor, the youngest of 7 children, someone who grew up poor, black, and female, I know what discrimination looks and feels like. I know what it feels like for someone to look at me and judge me by the color of my skin and not the content of my character. I know what it feels like to be discriminated against and not have a voice for me. Let me tell you what I believe as a member of the U.S. House of Representatives and a public servant we care about. We care about living in a country that we say is the greatest country in the world, and I do believe that to be true, but we care about and believe that every man, every woman, every boy, every girl, regardless of the color of their skin, their ethnic background, how much money they have in the bank, their religion, or where their zip code, deserves to have an opportunity to live the American dream. Is that what we care about? That every person living in a country that we say is the greatest country in the world should have access to quality health care in a public health pandemic, and even when we're not. Is that what we care about? I do believe that regardless of the color of your skin or where you live, that you should have access to quality education and that we should pay our teachers what they are worth. Is that what you care about? I do believe that the greatest symbol of the American dream is home ownership, and every person living in a country that we say is the greatest should have the opportunity to own a home that is affordable. Is that what we care about? I do believe in the greatest country in the world, regardless of where you live, your zip code, that you should be able to live in a safe and secure neighborhood. Is that what we all care about? I do believe in the greatest country in the world, that every person should have an opportunity to vote, and we're a place where you decide your representatives and not where the representatives decide their voters. Is that what you care about? I do believe in the greatest country in the world in 2021 that a woman should still have the right to choose. Is that what you care about? I do believe in the greatest country in the world that the United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and we believe in the rule of law, and we believe in our democracy, and we will not lie, steal, and cheat like we see the other side. Is that what we care about? It is time for us to support people on the local, state, and federal level who support our agenda. I am running for the United States Senate, and I'm running to win. And with your support and with your help, come November of next year, I will be elected the next U.S. Senator to represent the great state of Florida. God bless you, and thank you.
Thank you so much. And again, acknowledgement to Mayor Demmings. I really appreciate you being here also. Thank you so much. Guys, at the end of the day, you know, we come together. This is a leadership blue, and I know it's about having a lot of good energy. But don't let this energy get stuck here. Take this energy to wherever you're going. Encourage people to get registered. Encourage people, you know, the problem is not only registering new people, but it's getting these people out of their house and voting. We can do it. We can win, and we can get our candidates across the finish line. Take your time. If you have the opportunity to stop these candidates in the hallway, they will stop for you, and they will answer your questions, and they will give you some attention. Challenge them. Ask them about this. Ask them about that. For our Hispanic community, this is our opportunity. This is our time. The growth of the Hispanic population in this state of Florida has been incredible in the past couple of years, especially in the past year. We're looking at redistricting, and we see what the other side is doing to our communities with that process. Good conversation I had with Congressman Soto, where we are powerless on what they're going to do, but we're not voiceless. And we have to make a difference, and we can only do that together. 60%. Let's aim for 70. Let's aim for 75. Let's aim for 80. Let's aim for 85. We can do it. We can do it by supporting our candidates, have that passion. And when come August comes and come primary finishes, we support whatever champion is the victor of our primary. We come together as one party. And we have to do this together, because together we will fail, but together we will succeed. I guarantee you that. The Democratic Hispanic Caucus is on that mission with Chairman Diaz. And more importantly, and for the record, you don't need to be Hispanic to join this caucus. You just need to be passionate. We share the same cause. We have the same concerns. I have 2 daughters, and all I want to do is just make a better future for them. We all have children, and we want to make it better for them. You know, I can imagine being a parent and getting that call that there's a crazy shooter at her school. We see it time and time again. And when are we going to make the change? You know when we're going to make the change? When we vote the right people in. More importantly, when we vote the wrong person out. And we do it together. And together we can. I promise you. So if you haven't heard about the Democratic Hispanic Caucus, you will. I promise you that. But I need your partnership. Again, you don't have to be Hispanic. You just got to care. And we will share what our platforms are, and you will see that there's synergy. And come together as a party, and we will win. Folks, thank you so much for being here today. And if you would like to get a hold of me, leave me your information here on the side. Come speak to me. But I'll be more than happy to come out to where you at and discuss about the Hispanic platform and how we can make a difference together. Thank you so much. Many blessings. And I hope you guys have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and whatever deity you pray to or you meditate to, thank you so much, and appreciate you and enjoy the rest of the conference.